Hello viewers, I Muhammad Abdul Habib welcome you all to our application AIMS tutorial. In this video, we'll be discussing chapter 4 preparation of subsidiary books. Here is the question, page number 111, question number 6. Enter the following transactions in proper subsidiary books. Proper subsidiary books in the sense we need to read the transaction and we need to identify in which book the transaction needs to be posted. So the transactions are given for the year 2018 for the month of June, and the first transaction is given on June 1 as purchased goods from Arun 2500 rupees. So it is a transaction of purchases, so we need to prepare purchases book. Followed by the transaction on June 3, again it is given as purchased goods from Prakash 7000 rupees. Again it is a transaction of purchases which will be posted in purchases book. The next transaction is on June 6, return outward to Arun 800 rupees. Return outward is the other name for purchase returns. So it is a transaction of purchase returns for which we will be preparing purchase returns book. The next transaction is on June 14, purchased goods from Nagaraj 10,000 rupees, trade discount 10%. It is a transaction of purchases which will be posted in purchases book. The next transaction is on June 19, goods purchased from Nikhil for cash 4,000 rupees. It is a cash transaction. It will not be recorded in purchases book, for which we will be writing a note that transaction dated June 19 is a cash transaction and is hence not recorded in purchases book. Followed by the transaction on June 25, which is given as goods returned to Nagaraj 1200 rupees. It is a transaction of purchase returns which will be posted in purchase returns book. The last transaction for the problem is given on June 28, which is given as bought goods from Vishal 1500 rupees. So out of the specified transactions, we will be preparing purchases book and purchase returns book as the transactions related to either purchases book or purchase returns book. So only two books are to be prepared, purchases book and purchase returns book. Here is the solution. First we'll be preparing purchases book and we'll be discussing all the transactions which are related to purchases and we'll be recording it in purchases book. Then we'll be preparing purchase returns book and the transactions which are related to purchase returns will be recorded in purchase returns book. So first we'll be preparing purchases book, the format for which is date, particulars, inward invoice number, LF number, details, amount, rupees. So here the transactions are given as 2018 June 1 and the first transaction is given as purchased goods from Arun 2500. So it is a transaction of purchases which will be recorded in purchases book as 2018 June 1. In particulars column will be writing the name of Arun and in amount column will be writing the amount of purchase 2500 rupees. Followed by the transaction on June 3, purchased goods from Prakash 7000. Again it is a transaction of purchases which will be recorded in purchases book. Here the date will be taken as June 3. In particulars we will be writing the name Prakash and in amount we will be writing the amount of purchase which is 7000 rupees. The next transaction is on June 6, return outward to Arun 800 rupees. Return outward is the other name for purchase returns. So as it is a transaction of purchase returns, it will be recorded in purchases return book. While preparing purchase returns book, we will be posting this transaction on June 6. So as of now, as we are discussing only purchases book, we will be writing the transactions of purchases in purchases book. Next, we have a transaction on June 14, which is purchased goods from Nagaraj 10,000 rupees, trade discount 10%. So here the date, as it is a transaction of purchases, it will be recorded in purchases book. So here the date will be taken as June 14. In particulars column, we will be writing the name Nagaraj and in details column, we will be writing the amount of purchase 10,000 as we have to calculate trade discount. So trade discount is given as 10%. So here it will be taken as less trade discount 10%, 10,000 into 10 by 100. 10% of 10,000 works out to be 1000 rupees. Subtracting trade discount amount 1000 from the total amount of purchase 10,000. 10,000 minus 1000, it becomes 9,000, which will be recorded in amount column. The next transaction after June 14 is on June 19, which is given as goods purchased from Nikhil for cash 4,000 rupees. So it is a cash transaction and it will not be recorded in purchases book, for which we will be writing a note that transaction dated June 19 is a cash transaction and is hence not recorded in purchases book. Then we have a transaction on June 25, which is given as goods returned to Nagaraj 1200 rupees. It is a transaction of purchase returns. So at the time of preparing purchase returns book, we will be posting this transaction. So till now, these two transactions, transaction dated on June 6, return outward to Arun 800 and transaction dated on June 25, goods returned to Nagaraj 1200 are related to purchase returns book. So while preparing purchase returns book, we will be posting these two transactions. As of now, as we are discussing purchases book, we will be posting all the transactions related to purchases. So the last transaction for the problem is given on June 28, which is given as bought goods from Vishal 1500 rupees. So bought goods means purchased goods. So as it is a transaction of purchases, it will be posted in purchases book as June 28. Here the date will be taken as June 28. In particulars column we will be writing the name Vishal and in amount column we will be writing the amount of purchase which is 1500 rupees. Now doing the total for purchases book. 9,000 plus 1,000, 10,000 plus 7,000, 17,000 plus 2,000, 19,000 plus 1,000, 20,000. So the total of purchases book is 20,000, and in particulars column we'll be writing it as total. Now preparing purchase returns book. So here is purchase returns book, the format for which is date, particulars, debit note number, LF number, amount, rupees. The format for purchases book is date, particulars, inward invoice number, LF number, details, amount, rupees, whereas the format for purchase returns book is date, particulars, debit note number, LF number, amount, rupees. So only two transactions are related to purchase returns. First transaction on June 6, return outward to Arun. Return outward is the other name for purchase returns. So this transaction will be posted in purchase returns book, as well as the transaction dated on June 25, goods returned to Nagaraj 1200. It is related to purchase returns. So only these two transactions will be posted in purchase returns book. So the first transaction is on June 6. So here the date will be taken as 2018 June 6, as the goods are being returned to Arun. So Arun name will be recorded in particulars column, and in amount column the amount for which the goods have been returned will be recorded. So as the goods worth 800 have been returned, 800 will be recorded in amount column. The next transaction for which on which the goods have been returned is on June 25. So the goods are returned on June 25. So here the date will be taken as June 25. And in particulars column, we'll be writing the name of person to whom the goods are returned. So as we have returned goods to Nagaraj, in particulars column, we'll be writing the name Nagaraj. And in amount column, we'll be writing the amount for which the goods have been returned. So as the goods have been returned for 1500, in amount column, we'll be writing 1200. We'll be writing the amount 1200 rupees. So here the goods worth rupees 1200 have been returned to Nagaraj. So here the amount have been taken as 1200 rupees. Now doing the total for purchase returns book, 1200 plus 800, it becomes 2000 rupees. So here the total will be taken as 2000, and in particulars column we'll be writing it as total. With this, we conclude this session. Hope you have understood the topic. See you all in next video. Thank you.